met our mutual friend Dash through Amy and Kevin of the Interrupters.
Yes.
And and I know that you officiated their wedding.
You do know that.
I do know that, but give me the whole background of how you know them.
Gnarliest backstory with the Interrupters, and they're family to me, all of them. They really are.
They're the best people in the entire world.
They don't make them better, and they are so appreciative of where they're at right now. I mean, I don't think I've ever seen a band more grateful for their fans, because I've seen the whole hustle from the beginning and to where they are now. And I'll give you a little backstory, and I'll make it as long-winded as possible. But Amy Allen had a solo record out in 2009. And it was very sort of no-doubty, fun, beach rocky. She's very talented. She can sing and do anything. And so we took her on tour with Sugar Ray in 2009.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
It was Sugar Ray, Amy Allen, and Fastball. Like a 2009. It wasn't really retro and nostalgia yet. It was a little more depressing than anything, that tour. But I loved everybody involved. But Kevin Bavona at the time was working for us as a guitar tech. So sparks happened on the tour. Amy and Kevin got together, and I didn't know. They kept it real stealthy, you know, it was real underground. And then like a couple weeks later, my guitar player Rodney said, "Do you know that Amy and Kevin Bavona are going out now?" I go, "No." Well, that'll last about a week or two, you know. Fast forward to a couple years later, they asked me to officiate their wedding with Tim Armstrong from Rancid singing What a Wonderful World on acoustic guitar. It was the most beautiful thing ever. I am the minister of this wedding.
Oh my God.
It's at the Sportsman's Lodge in Studio City.
Yes.
And it was just such a beautiful thing. And to see their band grow. And the twins, the Bavona twins, Jesse and Justin, played in Sugar Ray for about 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
Now, I had to kick them out because they were getting used to buses and stuff. And they kind of had this little thing, wow, we're getting money to play and blah, blah. I go, you guys, you need to do your band. I physically had to kick them out. I go chase your dreams.
Oh my
I'm not going to
gosh.
be that bummer, like Loverboy band that made you go with us because you're talented. And I go, I want you to go find your own thing. And then the Interrupters got together, Amy and Kevin together, and then the rest is rock and roll history. And now they're killing the acoustic Christmases. And I mean, they're probably one of your favorite artists on K-Rock and all stations around the country.
They're just so refreshing. And I think the thing that is so great about them is that even if you don't know any of their songs, because that's sort of what happened to me is I only knew, I think, one of their songs, and I saw them at Muse Inc. And I was all the way in the back of the crowd, and they went on, and all of a sudden I turned my head, and I'm like, run to the front. And I was just like, this freaking band is so amazing. And I feel like by the end of the set, I was like, I know their songs because they're like anthems, and they make the crowd feel a part of them and their family and like what they're trying to do, you know?
Their whole thing is we're family.
Exactly.
You know, they have record title songs, and you, like you said, you feel that way. You go away from a show smiling, you're dancing, and they're bringing back the joy of music, meaning like it's a communal experience when you're playing live, you know? And the Interrupters have a way of making everybody, like you said, you were in the back, everybody feel included.
Yeah.
There's no separation between stage and audience, and there's such a joy coming from those human beings, and I know all four of them so well. There's no facade, there's no joke, there's no put on.
Yep.
That is who they are. You know, so if you're a fan of the Interrupters, you're a fan for a reason. You're getting what they're giving, and they're just the pure joy, the fourth wave of ska.
Yeah.
I was around for the first wave. That's how old I am. And it's about time. And having the Interrupters carry the flag, I just couldn't be more happy for them professionally, but also personally, because they're such wonderful human beings.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's so many ways that I am now connected to you because, okay, so we have to talk about the fact that your Cameo went viral. And the funny thing too is that we had this scheduled before that even happened.
That's right.
You know, because I have to tell you, I had a poster of you up on my wall when I was like in like 6th, 7th, 8th grade.
Is it still there?
It's still there.
Oh,
It's still
liar.
there. It was like big, bright blue, Mark McGrath, just you, and it said Sugar Ray, and I just love Sugar Ray.
I'm so honored.
much.
I am so honored. It feels weird to hear that.
I know.
You know, only because I'm a human being and I'm not a narcissistic veneers. My veneers make it hard for me to say that.
Me too.
But you know, I just I'm not someone that would ever be in someone's wall.
Yeah.
You know, that's Robert Plant. That's Johnny Rotten. That's Axl Rose. You know, so when I hear people say that, I'm so honored. I don't know how to even I'm embarrassed by the gratuity of having that experience that happened. I can't believe it happened to me.
Yeah.
Even though it's in the rear view mirror, I'm so honored and grateful it happened to me. So it's interesting you say that. I just want you to know I really appreciate that. And I know as time has gone by, Sugar Ray has never been the cool. We're never cool, and certainly as time goes by, that the coolness factor has gone way away. But I think now people are looking at it in a nostalgia way. Like, those songs meant a lot to me growing up.
Yep.
And once you hit that sort of nostalgia place where like, yeah, I remember getting my driver's license and driving around hearing every morning. Or my first boyfriend or girlfriend, we listened to Fly. Those are moments that you can never take away. Or these moments are really special and now being a father, Every Morning or Fly was the first song my kid ever sang. And these are landmark moments, and these are nothing I had to do. It's out there. So to be part of that general feeling and vibe of people's lives, it's an honor, and I'm so grateful.
Well, yeah, I mean, those songs brought so much joy into my life, and I know,
That's amazing. I appreciate that.
My best friend Brianna, she's so excited. I think she actually she sent me a video that she wants me to show you afterwards.
Good.
Because we just love you, and she was like a fan from like Floored.
Yeah.
And I know that Floored was such a different sound, and so was Fly on that album, Floored, or what?
To give you a little backstory, which is kind of
I know
ironic,
it was kind of a surprise hit.
Right, and Fly was the anomaly on Floored, which is ironic because Floored was our heaviest record.
Exactly, and so a lot of people were not happy when you guys kind of went a different direction.
Right, but our first record was called.
Became one of the biggest bands in the world.
And then we went, you know what? This is kind of fun. Money, multi-platinum records, and we were kind of hitting our stride as songwriters. You kind of peak when you're young, and if you ever get a sound, you go milk that thing.
Oh, for sure. So, and that was the only Sugar Ray that I knew.
Right, sure. And most people know,
Yeah.
But our first record was called Lemonade and Brownies.
Right.
And we got signed to Atlantic Records in 1994. We got this $1 million 2-firm record deal, which seems like just mind-boggling with today's and how things are going. And we had 2 original songs. One was called Lick Me, and the other was called Caboose. And we only played covers. We were kind of a performance art band. I mean, we played in Orange County and San Diego, and we played with bands like the Vandals and The Offspring. And people would come see us because I would cut my stomach open like Iggy Pop.
Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah. And I would take a hockey stick on stage and like hit my guitar player in the head and give him a black eye. I mean, we were like performance art. We'd last 15 minutes on stage before we either ran out of songs or got kicked out of the venue or someone got in a fight. I mean, it was all just this weird energy. But we made a video to the one song that was an original called Caboose by our friend McG Nickel. Now, McG basically did every video you saw in the late 90s. The Offspring, Pretty Fly for a White Guy, All-Star by Smash Mouth, all the Sugar Ray videos you've seen. And he wanted to do direct to Charlie's Angels movies, and now he's a big-time Hollywood, blah, blah, blah. So we had a perfect video we made, and that was our demo tape. And it got to Atlantic Records, and they got us a record deal. So our first record, we decided to get DJ Lethal from House of Pain to produce it because House of Pain was everything in the early 90s. Even Jump Around. I still love that song today. And I'm an Irishman, and I got in touch with my Irish roots when House of Pain came around. So we hired a DJ Lethal to produce the record, and then we found out he didn't produce Jump Around. It was Muggs from Cypress Hill.
Oh, whoa.
But Lethal is so talented, so we made this record. We were like kids in a candy store. We're like, we'll do like an AC/DC song, we'll do a punk rock song, we'll do like straight up vibe songs, because Lethal would give us tracks that were like boo boo boom boom boom, like R&B songs. Like, what do we do with this? So long story short, or even longer, we made this record, Lemonade and Brownies, and we put it out. And some of the harder singles got picked up by radio. And in Europe, it was right before the rap rock thing was happening.
Okay.
This is 95, 96. So we were touring with bands like the Deftones.
Oh, that's my number one favorite band.
They're one of the greatest bands
Number
of all
one
time.
favorite band.
I love Chino. And one of my best moments of my life was doing acid with Chi underneath the St. Louis Arch. But that's another story. Rest in peace, Chi. It was so amazing. Monster Magnet, the Sex Pistols. So we were touring bands like that, and we were getting a little bit of rhythm going. And so I wanted to keep doing that. And one day we were making a record floor. Thank God we made enough noise. We got on Howard Stern. We got a little bit of a national exposure that Atlantic let us make a second record, which was Floored and had Fly on it. Now, when I first heard Fly, our bass player was warming up his fingers because we were doing it. We were doing the record in New York, and so he's going like boom, 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 boom. I mean, it's a warm up. You can hear it. Boom, boom, boom. That's what bass players do. And our guitar player, our drummer, heard that and went, "What's that?" And he goes, oh, I'm just warming up. And he goes, no, that's a song. So I wasn't there. I was in New York partying. I hated the guys. I hated everything that was happening. So he put together this little thing, our drummer, of just the bum, 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 and our drummer went like, I just want to fly. Put your arms around me, baby. And I heard it and I go, I quit. This is the worst thing I have ever heard. So it was just a piece of like the worst thing I've ever heard. And I called my friend McGee. I'm in New York, and I go, McGee, I'm coming home. I mean, the only momentum we have is this sort of like rap rock, hard rock thing. By the way, which is about to explode 2 years later. And these guys want to do this. I don't know what it is. And McGee called me. He goes, what do you do? Come home. You're making another record for Atlantic Records. You're going to come home and do what, dude? Mm-hmm. So he set me straight. It's like, oh, God. And so I went back to this, I just want to fly. He goes, there's something there, dude. Just look at it objectively, please. Finish the song. So I put verses in it, and I arranged the song. And I put the all around the world, part. And so, like, it started coming together a little bit. I go, all right. And I go, let's take that I just want to fly thing away and make it and put it in my singing voice. And then, by the grace of God, Sublime hit.
Oh, yeah.
What I Got hit, 96, 97. Gigantic, changed the game. And interrupt me anytime you want, Megan.
Oh, my God, no, please.
I really get verbose.
Yeah, no, this is great.
But what Sublime did and what David Kahne, the producer of that song, did was crack the code of the Southern California lifestyle at the time. Yep. That beach, rock, reggae, hip-hop, punk rock, how does it all fit together? Well, the genius of Bradley Nowell and Sublime and the genius of David Kahne as a producer figured out how to put that together. At the same time, we're working on this I just want to fly weird song that was just so awful when I first heard it. But we were starting to take a little bit of shape and becoming a song. I'm like, this has kind of got a chance. Now, the rest of the stuff was the hard rock, bang stuff that, that in retrospect, we don't do that well. We found out. And David Kahne came into our studio because we were looking for producers. Now, he's hot off What I Got. He goes, there's something in that song called Fly. Mark, when you do that, my mother, God rest her soul, he goes, there's a note there that you hit that if you listen to me, we can sell 2 million copies off this record. And I just got on my knee and I go, just give me a voice, Mr. David Kahne. And he did. Long story short, made the record. Fly took shape. I had the idea of putting Supercat on there. Mm-hmm. It all came together. And that record ended up selling 2 million copies off that one song. And I picture people buying that record. And by the way, everybody out there who bought the record, I apologize.
Like, what?
$14.59 was your reward.
Yeah, exactly. But Fly was number one not only on the alternative charts, but on the top 40 charts as well for like weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. It was summertime anthem, just...
Fly set records, and not to be so, not to be feeling myself, but it went to at one point in time it was on VH1, BET, and MTV. Mm-hmm. I don't know if there's ever been a rock band that's done all of that at once. And by VH1 was a bad word back in the 90s. Now it's so it's amazing to think that. But VH1 was Michael Bolton. Uh-huh. It was Gloria Estefan. Wow. And then Sugar Ray. So you almost had like we're on VH1. It was almost like you were apologizing. But it broke number one airplay charts at alternative, and then it went to then it went to pop, Hot AC, AAA, went number one in multiple formats. It just became this monolithic beast that it went around the world and became other people's songs. Now, there was a lot of people involved in the making of Sugar Ray, and the making of that song, which obviously made Sugar Ray. And it wouldn't have been done without our producer, David Kahne. Mm-hmm. He was the guy that just, from hearing, I just want to fly, to all of us, to me arranging, putting verses on it, to Supercat's, addition to it that made it just ethereal, and David Kahn's production. So there was just divine intervention and a village to make that song happen. But it gave us a blueprint for the other songs, Every Morning Someday, and what became 1459.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so crazy how much a producer can really play like such a massive part and just all of those things coming together. And I feel like a lot of it is just pure luck. And then it's just working hard and having the talent to do it. You know what I mean?
It's so true, Megan, because producers work in many different ways. There's producers like Rick Rubin who lay on the couch and they're white linen and eat pumpkin seeds and go, nope, nope. And you're like, well, what do you mean, nope? I don't like it. That's his input.
And that's it.
That's it. Then there's producers like David Kahne who roll up his sleeves and write with you and figure it out. And And each band is subjective. Whatever works for you, it makes it work. Obviously, Rick Rubin's had a ton of success. He's an amazing tastemaker, and Puffy works very similar to Rick Rubin. Some people just know good music, and Rick Rubin and Puffy do. And there's guys like Michael Beinhorn and David Kahne who get in, hear the songs, break it down to the DNA, and build it back up almost scientifically. And we needed a taskmaster like David Kahne then to whip us into shape. We didn't know who we were.
Right.
I didn't know. The gnarliest thing that ever happened to me, we're recording Fly, and I'm in the booth, something like this. We're in the control booth here, and I'm out there in the booth, and we're about to record Fly, and we all felt it was the only song that had any chance of any success on this record. And so I was very reticent to record it. I was hesitant. I was fearful, all of those words. And I was out there, and the red light's going, and I'm trying, and I hear David Kahne go, Mark? He always pushes his glasses up like this. If you guys are looking. He'd push his glasses up, and he goes, Mark, I've got some good news and some bad news for you. And he was the most dry guy ever, like no emotion, aemotional, like, alien. And the record labels in the control booth, the bands in the control booth, our friends are, everybody knows this is our only shot. I go, yes, David, being an Irishman, I want to hear the bad news first. He goes, the bad news is you can't sing. Now, I'm about to record the only song we've got a shot at. And I go, David, call me crazy. What could possibly be the good news? He goes, if you listen to me again, and we put this thing together. This is when Pro Tools was just starting to come into age, finding your voice and helping singers who maybe aren't Mariah Carey out in the studio. And he goes, if you listen to me, I can give you a tone that will be your voice for the rest of your life, and we can sell 2 million copies off this record again. And I said, David, I am your man again. What do I got to do? And boom, we sat there and we Frankenstein all of it. We go, stop. So he'd put that together and shape it, flip it, rub it down. Oh, no, the whole thing. And then statues, crump, stop. And so we just Frankenstein it. So he found my voice there.
Wow.
I didn't know. I was singing. I was screaming. I was singing falsetto. And I go, this is your voice. Your voice. You don't have a great voice. But when you stay in a lane, you have a tone I think people are going to want to hear.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of people that don't have great voices that have made it in the business.
So many artists.
But they stay in their lane.
Yes.
And that was very important. Knowing what you don't have is a very important part of life and will really help you out. And you said something interesting about luck. Luck has never tapped you on your shoulder when you're sitting around the couch watching Below Deck for the 5 millionth time.
Right.
Luck is outside your front door.
Yeah.
And I tell people that all the time when they ask me for advice. And they go, what do you mean? I go, you got to get the wheels in motion. You got to be outside shaking hands. You never know what hand you're going to shake that's going to give you your luck.
Totally.
But it's
totally
not inside your house. Yeah.
Yeah, like the power of manifestation. Just
Positive
through
thinking.
Positive thinking.
Yeah.
Like,
And it all sounds
I
like,
mean,
I don't know if we can cuss here, but it also,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
it all sounds like bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, oh, yeah. And it's something people aren't doing things right now. It also, but if you aren't out there visualize, if you can't visualize it, you cannot do it.
Exactly.
I promise you this. Now, I wasn't born to be a singer, but I visualized being on stage my entire life.
Yeah.
Plan B was always plan A.
Totally.
And if you can't visualize it, it's not for you.
Yeah.
And I think it's that simple. You're like, oh, I want to be famous. Well, why?
But for what? Yeah, exactly.
Why?
And that's the issue that I think I have today with a lot of just people in general. It just they want to be famous, but the whole thing is like your talent is what makes you famous because it's what draws people to you. So it's like, what's your talent? You know what I mean?
Absolutely, Megan. It's certainly what's going to...
Or your lane even. Like, what are you doing? Like, what are you serving to people? But I feel like the Sugar Ray music is so, like, positive and upbeat and talks about, real things. Even, like, when it's over. Like, that's the time I fall in love again. Yep. I'm like, I fucking relate to that shit.
Right.
You know what I mean?
That's my wife. I wrote that about my wife.
Yeah.
My now wife, I wrote that 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Because we were going through all this stuff. We'd break up, and then second I'd break up, I'd go out for one night, go to Jones, and do whatever in LA. Yeah, and I wake up the next morning and go, I miss her.
Yeah.
And it's just, it's the with or without you. You two did a great. Grass is always greener. It's an old sort of topic, but it's so true.
Yeah.
When it's over, that's the time I fall in love again.
Yeah.
And thank God a lot of people felt a similar way.
Just like truths. I just felt like I feel like you're such a truthful, honest, vulnerable songwriter. And you just tell it like it is.
Well,
you know?
I appreciate that, and the lyrics do come from the heart. I'm not smart enough to be deep. I'm not going to give you a Coldplay play, move mountains, and talk about, King Zeus coming down from the mountaintop to free Moses and the people. It just was never my thing.
Yeah, but that's the whole thing is like always being your authentic, true self.
Right.
That's what people, I think, are drawn towards.
I think, the songs that we were really, and speaking to our core and our pain, had the most effect, And growing up at the beaches of Southern California, we grew up in Newport Beach, California. We were fortunate to grow up down there. Most of us had intact households, so there wasn't a lot to complain about. So our music comes from a happy place, the Beach Boys, But I was also raised in a healthy dose of Black Flag, Saccharine Trust, the Adolescents, and all these great groups. So I knew the angst, but I knew I was faking it. You know what I mean? I knew that wasn't me.
Totally.
And the Seattle sound coming out in the early 90s, which was dominating the airwaves, the labels wanted it. We just knew it wasn't us.
Yeah.
So we made a video of us having fun in a bar on a hockey rink with our shirts off, playing hockey. And Doug Morris at Atlantic Records, who's a legendary figure in the music business, said, I don't know what this song is. It kind of sucks, but this band, what I see on the video, is what I got into music for.
Yeah.
And he was tired of this. People staring at their shoes going,
you're just show us some fun.
Have some fun.
People having fun.
Have some fun. And,
Yeah.
and luckily, we hit a time when people were ready to have a little bit of fun again. They got a little... they got a little heavy with the Alice in Chains of the world, and that did it so well,
yeah.
but just it was everywhere for a time, and it was nice to see
lighten it up a little bit.
Yeah, the Chili Peppers, the Beastie Boys, and luckily we got on their coattails, and we had smiles and never took ourselves too seriously.
Yeah.
I started the narrative of making fun of myself years ago, and it still continues to this day.
I know, and we were talking, but I think having that kind of attitude, embracing, the things that other people kind of poke fun at you at, it's like you have to. You have to be able to laugh at yourself.
You cannot be on social media or have any sort of fame today without laughing at it all. And you have to have a thick skin.
Oh, yeah.
We were talking about it earlier, people that go viral just on accident. I can't imagine what they go through because, I've kind of been a douche target for 25 years. No, really, and by my own design, and I've kind of fabricated that, and I've also perpetuated and manifested that. So I've taken all sorts of abuse, I mean, if the social media naysayers were correct, I'd walk outside of my house and there'd be 35 people lined up to punch me in the face.
Right.
Luckily, it's a minority on the social media platforms, but it's what we hear the loudest. Mm-hmm. I also get, Mark, I love you, and I'm so grateful for your songs, and those mean so much to me. And those really prick my ears and my eyes more than the negative ones do.
Yeah.
And where more people are affected by the negative ones. So
I know.
I'm just grateful that there are just people out there. I live for good people.
Mm-hmm.
And I have some great friends I've had for years and years and years. My guitar player, Rodney, we've been in a band together for over 30 years. I live for good people. And it makes dealing with all the other stuff worthwhile. If you have 2, 3, 4 good friends, count yourself lucky. That's what life's about.
Oh, 100%. I mean, and the other thing too that I was talking to my friend about this morning is everybody is willing to leave a negative comment, but people like me who just enjoyed watching your Cameo so much, and you might just watch it and not even comment on it or whatever, but it brought you so much joy. So it's just the people who are being affected positively aren't necessarily saying anything about it.
Absolutely. None of my friends, none of the people I know have ever left a negative comment on anything.
Yeah,
none of them.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's all the people I live in. And if they like something, they won't leave a comment either.
Sometimes you'll like it or share it, but sometimes you just be like, oh, that was nice to enjoy.
Exactly. But there are a small minority of people out there who hate themselves. They're very unhappy. I mean, who leaves a negative comment if you're happy with yourself?
Yeah.
I'm completely in a zen state of happiness. Oh, let me say how shitty this band is.
And I'm like, what are you doing? Or why don't you try doing
I'll
that?
show you what they're doing.
What I mean?
They're on my 600-pound life is what they're doing. Let's be honest.
They're jerking it in the basement.
Exactly. But by the way, I've been there. But you know what I mean. So I can empathize, but I'm not going to relate anymore.
So let's talk about the whole Cameo thing.
Yeah.
And how it all sort of came about, and then when you put that video out there that ended up going viral, you probably had no idea that was even going to happen.
It's crazy because my fame happened before any social media, before the internet even. So I'm not used to being famous in a new platform. So that was a trip to go through. I got on Cameo a couple of months ago. A friend of mine invested in Cameo, and I've been asked to be on a few times. And to be honest with you, I thought I was like, You know what I mean? I've been given more than I deserve in this industry. I'm still performing. I get overpaid and I'm underworked. I don't know if I need to do this. And by the way, I do them for free all day long.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it felt a little weird to me. But a good friend of mine asked me to join because he had an interest in Cameo. And I go, I'll do it. You know, no one will ever know I'm on there. And if I get a couple cameos, great. And if I make some people happy, fantastic. No problem. So I go on Cameo. And I get maybe like 1 or 2 a day. And it was happening. And I was on there for about a month or so. And I get a lot of requests that are like, you know, say sugar gay or do this or whatever, you know, and I have to filter through the requests and ones I want to do and not do. And one came in from a guy that's a girl that says, I want to break up with my boyfriend who's a grad student and he's working on a thesis. And could you break up with him because I can't do it? Now, immediately I was like, yeah, all those grad school Sugar Ray fans out there, all those mid-20s super Sugar Ray fans out there. So immediately red flags go up. You know, I've talked about it a few times already. I'm very self-effacing. I realize when bullshit is coming my way. So I said, I'll take this guy's money and I'll play it straight and I'll make it super long. So obviously it's a joke and at the end, whatever. So I do this Cameo and even at the end of the Cameo, I go, hey, maybe someday I think her name was Cheyenne and Braden, maybe we can all high five at a Sugar Ray show. I mean, who says that in a breakup video, right? And it was like 2 minutes and 30 seconds long. It was going on and on and on. And so I send it. This was about 3 weeks ago. Completely forgot about it. I go, 4 people will watch it. He's going to think he got over me, but I got over him because he's not going to know it's a joke, but maybe he will because, you know, Jensen Carr walked in. He knew it was a joke right away. And so that was it. So somehow it gets on someone who had a couple followers, got on and posted it, and then it started taking a little, and all of a sudden it exploded. Yep. Barstool Sports, Us Weekly, Rolling Stone, Entertainment Tonight. Everybody's calling me. Time Magazine is calling me. Now I am the expert on social media and viral. I go, I don't know what you're talking about. And so I had to go, that Cameo? Because I thought it was a Sugar Gay video or something. Many stupid things I've done in my life. You know, I'm going, oh God, which drunken bar did I come out of the '90s that they dug in the crates and found some weird video? Yeah. And it was the Cameo. And I go, oh my God. Now, the weirdest thing is there was this gigantic feedback of like, oh, what an idiot. Look how stupid he is. That guy got over him. And Mark McGrath, the douche we all know who he is, did a video like that. But then there was a whole other half of people that are going, that's the sweetest thing I've ever seen.
Totally.
What a great guy. Yeah. Now I'm in a conundrum going, oh my God, it was a joke. Yeah. What do I do?
Right.
And so I used to work at Extra. I was entertainment news host at Extra for 4 years. So I always give them exclusives because they're so good to me. And we're like family there still, even after all these years. So I went on Extra with Billy Bush and I went, you know, bro, it was a joke. Yeah. You know, I mean, if you look at my cameos, they are sincere like that. And I do make them like that. And that's, you know, I like doing that. And that's why I Extra sold it. Yeah. I'm like, God, I'm a good actor. I'm the Daniel Day-Lewis School of Actor. Look, I fooled everybody, millions of people. So this guy who sent me the Cameo did it to Anthony Scaramucci. Mm-hmm. I think he did it to Sonny from POD. And they all did it seriously. But I guess because I'm the guy that everybody was to make fun of, I'm the guy that went viral in the whole thing. So it was this weird thing. What was great because now I'm the guy in Cameo that people break up with. They're like, if you're in the NFL, if you're in a fantasy football league, like I fire your commissioner. So it's become this thing where like it's quadrupled, if that's a word, my cameos. I rose my price up a little bit too.
Hell yeah.
And so it's just been this phenomenal thing. But to go viral in this world today, I was trending #1 worldwide for about an hour or two. I go, what is happening? What is going on? Yeah, was it like really overwhelming? It was. And how did you handle the negative feedback? Well, I get negative feedback all the time. It just came in such a volume this time. But then a lot of people really liked it and go, boy, that was so touching and heartwarming. I loved it. Yeah. Like, I don't know if I necessarily knew that it was a joke immediately. Yeah. But I just like... First of all, it was just good to see you, and then just the way that you were doing it was just like so sincere. And I was like, I just want Mark McGrath to handle everything for me. Honestly, it's funny you say that because a lot of people are like, I want Mark McGrath to give all my information to me, no matter what it is from now on. Yeah, just the way that you were, I don't know, it was just like very heartwarming. That's very kind of you, and I tried to make it like that too. I tried to really get in there and dig in the feels, you know what I mean, and get it worked. Any well of emotion I had. I try to put in that video. But also at the end, when I was getting bored of doing it, I started going, maybe we could all high five something. Who says that in a break? And by the way, who gets the guy in Sugar Ray to break up with their girlfriend during their thesis statement? You know what I mean? I'm like, good luck on your thesis statement. And you never know what can happen. When one door closes, another one opens, all the cliches are true. I just thought it was so obvious to me.
Well, even how you started off. Mark McGrath from Sugar Ray, off the charts, but always in your hearts.
That's how I start all my.
But even that,
who would start a breakup video like that?
Well, it's just it's like just starting anything off that way is like basically saying, look, I'm not here to take myself super seriously. I'm having a good time.
And as we've talked about, Megan, I'm kind of the guy that's been self-effacing and never really took myself seriously. So if I'm making a breakup video for someone, I'm probably not making a breakup video for someone.
Yeah.
Because I wouldn't do it if I thought it was real. I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Because I just think it's too sensitive between some. It's hurtful.
Yeah, seriously.
I don't make hurtful cameos.
Right.
Ironically. You know what I mean? When the most cameo I'm famous for is one that was probably considered hurtful by two people that don't exist.
Right.
This guy, and I actually traced it back to the guy who actually sent the cameo, and he's all trying to get his shine and stuff like that. And he did a couple of people, and he was doing it as a study, he says, for something. But the two people don't even exist.
Wow.
So there's this wealth of emotion and feeling for two people that don't exist on a cameo that wasn't real. I think it's a real testament to social media and how crazy it is and how careful we have to be when real news pops. How quickly it can disseminate and people take it verbatim.
Right.
It's an interesting study on the culture we live in today. And I think most people get their news from the social media.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
It's unverified. Yep. It's unresearched. And it's sort of a dangerous way we live in.
Well, and you sort of just get the headline and then you take that and run with it. Unless you're really, really diligent and you really do your research and then you cross-check that with something else. That's why I just feel like I can't talk about anything really, because first of all, I don't believe I'm a kind of a conspiracy theorist kind of person. Where
I'm with you on that.
Where I just don't believe anything, any
So
information they
that.
give me. I'm like, I just don't believe any of it. So things just seem a little off or screwed up. I'm like, ooh, something weird happened.
It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
We don't read these Apple, terms of services. And they're very long and garrulous and misleading for a reason.
Yeah.
They're saying we're stealing your information, selling it to everybody. It says it clearly in there if you read it.
Yep.
I was dumb enough to read the 384 pages once.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I actually read it, and I went, does everybody know what we're doing here? We're giving permission to give all our telephone
data,
and not just in their app or their platform.
Yeah, it's all
anything
of them.
in your
Everything,
world.
Google,
I didn't even
stuff.
understand what it meant, and now I do in retrospect. It's
like
crazy.
$1 trillion industry. The data.
Exactly. And the thumbnail clicks, like you said, that are clickbait, like the Sugar Gay video, that so many people are fascinated by.
I just saw that, and I didn't even know. Was that something that happened, and then it surfaced and
it happened before the internet.
Right.
It's almost 25 years old.
And then it came out in 2014 or something like that?
No, it's always been out.
Oh, it's always been out.
And it's been going through, the way people used to disseminate information. Like people go, listen to this videotape or look at this VHS cassette. So it's always been out, and it's not one of my prouder moments. And I always say this, I reacted like a complete idiot and a moron. There is no excusing my behavior coming out of a bar at 2:30 in the morning. There is no way to wrap that. There's no excuse. I deserve all the bullshit I get. That being said, there's a context to that video. And I always say reacted because it's not something I started. Mm-hmm. That was a party for Madonna. Mm-hmm. Okay. And there was a lot of gay folks there that night. And this one, paparazzi was new. There was no TMZ. Mm-hmm. There was no social media. There was no apps, no anything. And I was new to the celebrity games, 96, 97, whatever it was. And paparazzi was a new, and paparazzi, there'd be 3 or 4 people and you knew who they were, you know what I mean? But now it was starting to become a little bit of a thing, and there was a group of folks in there. And somehow this kid that I yelled at, somehow I become older in the video, and the kid's now, he's 12 years old.
Right.
When that kid was in the bar that night. So, and that was 2:30 in the morning, by the way. So either he had the best fake ID ever, or the kid was 21 years old. For some reason, he gets younger each year.
Right.
Mark McGrath yells at a 13-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Mark McGrath yells at a 12-year-old kid. Mark McGrath yells at a 6-year-old kid. He's getting younger. I'm getting older for some reason, that video. So there was just a bunch of disgusting, homophobic, derogatory terms being thrown at a group of folks that were mostly gay that night. And I'm not blaming paparazzi. It was a group of people, and that some of them were in the bar. Because Madonna travels with her dancers and all that, and they're very fun, very flamboyant, fun people that I love. And so Madonna was walked to the car, and just these horrible, just derogatory words are coming out. You guys can use your imagination of what they were. And I was like, God, man, this is heavy. This sucks. And as walking back, someone started with the sugar gay stuff. That's how I got involved. So I reacted to the negativity. Now, I'm the worst tough guy in the world, as you saw in the video. I played tough guy once in my life. I was like, I'm going to eat your farts. I don't even know what I was even saying. I mean, I was like such an idiot. I reacted like such a jerk. But a lot of the people I was with and hanging with were very intimidated and ran back in the bar. So it was getting a little bit heavy.
Yeah.
So I go, all right, I'll lay on this grenade for everybody. And I just reacted like a jerk off, like an idiot. I didn't hit anybody, but I said some stupid things. I was drunk out of my mind. And it's a very regretful video. But I think people, if they knew the context, they wouldn't throw around the gay term so much, because using gay meaning less than or not equal to is very offensive to me. And by the way, sugar gay was one of the lesser, more inoffensive terms that were being thrown that night. That just got me involved. So I reacted to the hate and the vitriol being spewed. So I tried.
You were protective over your friends and just trying.
I was, but it's. The context doesn't matter to people and all that.
Exactly.
And at the bottom of at the end of the day, I reacted like a fucking moron.
Yeah.
There's no denying that, and I will always own that. I wish people would just relax on the gay terms and throwing that around, because that hurts people. People have killed themselves because of terms like that.
Yeah.
Make fun of me all. I gave you a lot of material in there.
Yeah.
You don't have to throw around the gay word so much. You know what I mean? There's a lot of material to make fun of. So, I was standing up for some friends that were intimidated, and that's what we got. And unfortunately, we live in a world today where these videos are just recycled and recycled.
Well, yeah,
and I get hit on every day by, I am 20 years old, I have a private account, and I just get sugar gayed out the thing. And I understand it, but I would make fun of me for other stuff. Like I said, it's play material, but just watch the word gay.
Yeah.
And look, I've used it amongst friends. I get it, but I'm not your friend. And calling me gay, you're using the word gay as less than.
Yeah.
And as an insult. So let's just watch it. Because
Yeah.
people have died for less, and people out there are struggling and hurting because they are gay.
100%.
You know, so
and
we've
come a long way in
I
terms
thought
of
we
just,
have.
Yeah.
I thought we have, and when you hear what I get because of that video, it's a bummer. So I would just be careful the way you use gay and the way you throw it out to people. I've used it amongst my friends. I get it. I'm not some altruistic virtual signaler, but it's fun. I'm glad to sort of have the forum to kind of give a little context to what that video was.
Yeah, absolutely.
I reacted like a moron to some hate and vitriol that I will always stand up against.
Well, and
so do I regret the video? Yes. Do I regret standing up for my friends? Absolutely not.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing, too, is I just feel like we live in a culture now where you're not allowed to make a mistake. You're not allowed to live and learn, where you had that experience and you probably learned a lot from it. And you probably, in hindsight, you're like, oh, I would have reacted differently today.
Well,
probably.
Megan, could I have predicted social media, the internet,
Right.
and podcast? No, absolutely not. I no doubt react like a moron. There's no excusing my behavior there. But we can't look back and try to get woke on history.
Yeah, exactly.
It's over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
But we live in cancel culture where it's almost just like
all day.
You can't do anything in your life. You
Well,
can never make a mistake. You can
It's
never
recreational outrage.
Yeah.
It's a sport for people.
Yeah.
Who do we cancel? Let's cancel John Wayne because he said something in Playboy in
It's like
1965.
They love it.
And it's a shame, and I would just concentrate in your own life. You know what I mean? And I've made mistakes, and I'm bummed out on them, and they're embarrassing to me. And I've got to live with that video the rest of my life. My kids are going to see the whole thing. So I am suffering the consequences of reacting like a moron. Absolutely. I would just be a little more empathetic to people and just watch your mouth a little bit.
Yeah,
That's
seriously. It's like just focus on you and be the best example that you can be. And
Right.
I just wish that people would be. It's just everybody's just so judgmental of everybody else all the time, and instead of just looking at everybody like a human being
Right.
that's just trying to exist and learn. And it's just a cesspool, man. It's
I
so
think you're
crazy.
so right. And I think people are good in general. I still
think
believe
so,
in
too.
people. I
I
just
do,
think
too.
they got this anonymous platform where they can just
It's like
extol
this-
their hate
yeah.
and vitriol and there's hate in all of us. It's an innate quality of human beings, but we know how to filter it within ourselves. if you go in the market and you see someone that's overweight or so, you don't walk up to them going, "Hey, fatso."
Yeah.
But on the internet, you do.
Mm-hmm.
So I wish there could be a little more of social decorum on these social media platforms, but that's wishing a lot. Like we said, this is a job for people, some of this recreational outrage. So
Right.
what can you do? This is the life we live in. Hopefully the pendulum will swing back in a way that'll, making fun of people has always existed, but hopefully it'll swing back in a way that it can be tolerable for people and people don't have to kill themselves because they're getting made fun of by their high school peers.
Yeah, seriously.
That's so depressing to me. I can't even see straight.
Yeah, absolutely awful. But so another thing that I loved as far as the Cameo goes is okay. So everybody knows I'm just obsessed with this band Joywave. Okay, I've had Daniel on the podcast. I fucking love this band. So I just love how I've had you booked before any of this Cameo shit happened.
So crazy.
Because I fucking love you. And then all this stuff happens, and then the next thing I know, just yesterday, is you did a cameo for the band Joywave, giving an announcement for them, and then their fans sent one back through you to Joywave, and just the full circality of all of this.
That is what
life
is great about social media and apps and stuff. That is it being used in the purest, most awesome way.
Yes.
I was not familiar with the works of Joywave. I am now.
Yeah.
You tweeted me immediately.
Yeah.
You go, "Oh my God, my year's been made."
Yeah.
Joywave, and obviously they're the band on the up and up, and obviously gets a lot of love on these stations, and so they obviously very smart guys.
Yes, very smart.
I'm vibing them
Yep.
to use me to make a non-announcement announcement.
Yeah, exactly.
The announcement was we have no announcement.
Yeah, exactly.
Which was so brilliant to me.
That's them. That's their personality.
And that made me go, I love this band. I've never even heard them, but they're one of my favorite bands of all time. And then their fans are just as smart as they are. Yeah. They immediately hit me up for a cameo for the band to thank them for the non-announcement that they love. And by the way, Joywave fans, they did tell me to tell you that they love you. For some reason, everybody's hit me up and said, I know you ad-libbed that they love you. And I go, well, the band, I'll show you the cat. They said, we love you. And most bands love their support. So I didn't think that was so odd. But I don't know if there's some way Joywave doesn't talk to their band or something, their fans or something, because they said we love our fans. And I thought that was very sweet,
Oh, I'm sure that they said that. Yeah.
And it's the super fans too. They hit me. They go, "That Joywave would never say that." Blah blah blah. I go, "You guys are just going to have to receive their love because they love you and they're really grateful for your support." So that was a fun thing to be a part of, man.
Good.
And I look forward to seeing what they have coming in 2020.
Yeah, when they come out to play, I would love it if you would go.
Oh,
to the show.
listen, we're going to go together.
Yeah,
I feel like
please.
I'm part of this whole thing now.
You really are.
Which makes, like I say, it's the best part of like these surreal, crazy social media interactions. And I've had some great ones. And it makes all the negative ones worth it. These fun Joywave things that are happening, this synergy. I feel part of their new record.
Yeah.
And it's just really fun. So I wish those guys nothing but the best and success in 2020.
I love it so much. So what would you say, throughout your career, in Sugar Ray, maybe what were some of the biggest challenges that you faced being in the band?
Well, challenges in any band and any group dynamic are their interpersonal relationships. Mm-hmm. There's no doubt about it, especially when you throw money and success into it. People change. They do. And that happened in our band. We had a great run with the original members for 23 years.
Wow.
And that's something I've always been very proud of. But I can't make people do something they don't want to do. So unfortunately, 3 of the members left. I've never fired anybody. They just left and went on to do other things. None of them play professionally anymore. So I think that interpersonal dynamics are the hardest thing about a band. Keeping it alive, keeping it together. And people go, well, you too did it. Well, if I could take a private plane everywhere and made $100 million a year, I could deal with everybody too as well. So there's just levels to this stuff, ladies and gentlemen. So I think that's the most difficult thing are the relationships. You start as best friends, you start with the best intentions, and we were a band that was very sort of democratic, meaning that a lot of us, there was 3 main songwriters in Sugar Ray, myself, our drummer Sam Frazier, and our guitar player Rodney Shepard. But we would include our bass player and we had a DJ. How 90s is that?
Yeah.
We had a DJ in the band, and we would give them songwriting and publishing just to feel part of the group. So that, I think, contributed to our longevity, the willingness to share and be democratic in that process. Because a lot of bands, when they have one songwriter, and they see him come to rehearsal in a Lamborghini, and they're in a rented Ford Expedition. They're like, wait a minute, that's how publishing works? So we always kind of knew that, so we always wanted to keep the band together, and we were grateful for everybody's contributions, how minimal or major they were. So I think that's one thing you learn when you have success is you see the true colors of human beings and how they come out. And we lasted through the success, the guys left when we just weren't making the money we used to. When they went these, you have to love it where I am right now. Like I will die in a Denny's Barstow playing Fly 3 sets a night with a Grand Slam breakfast at my table, and I'll be the happiest guy in the world. There is no. My business account was talking to me the other day about retirement plan. I go, we don't need one. And she goes, no, we do. I go, we don't. I'm never retiring.
Yeah.
Either I'm dying or I'm not. I love to perform. I'm a lifer in this game. I'll do it the rest of my life.
Yeah.
But some people aren't built that way. Mm-hmm. And when things get hard and they kind of level off and the excitement of the hoo-ha is gone, you find out, like, do you really love this? And so it's interesting. I'm kind of harping on the band dynamics because that's been the most difficult thing for me because I wish we could still have all the original guys together.
Right.
But I can't make people stay in the band.
Yeah.
And sometimes I get like, as the leader, get blamed for people being not there or there. Like I had anything to do with it, when everybody left in their own volition. So that's been a regret that we couldn't all still take this ride together. But again, I can't make people stay in the band. So I think the most difficult thing is dealing with people. But I also tell people, like, this is my first job, Sugar Ray. I've been doing it for over 30 years now. So how many people in their first job are you still working with? Mm-hmm. I'm still working with one of them.
Yeah.
My odds are probably better than yours, ironically, in the music industry in terms of my first employment and if you're still working with your coworkers. But,
yeah. You look at a show like Kevin and Bean that have been on, for 30 years, and all the different people and characters who've come and gone.
Look at that.
That's a long time,
And God bless them, man.
Yeah.
And shout out to Kevin and Bean because they were such a huge part of our whole success. And I mean, my veneers flat on my mouth when makes me smile when I think of the good times I had with Kevin and Bean, man. And I know Bean just packed it in.
Yes, he did.
Yeah,
yes,
so
he did.
What
Moved
a great
to the
career.
UK. I know, totally.
Congratulations on
yeah.
that. I mean, really, like, talk about legends. We talked about earlier, Jed the Fish and Richard Blade and all these guys that have graced the halls. What legends. So I appreciate being a small part of their career.
Yeah.
So I think the hardest part is dealing with people. Mm-hmm. And not necessarily the band and people outside and all that. That's been the most difficult part, Yeah,
a lot of personalities, a lot of different people. You kind of have to, you sort of have to look at people through a certain lens because you want to know, do you have good intentions towards me?
Sure.
What are you really after?
What are you about?
Yeah.
And luckily I've had a good filter and I'm very...
I feel like you're very energy sensitive. Like
I pick up on people. I'm a spaz.
You're in tune.
I'm a spaz, so I can pick up. I can pick up vibes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
I really can.
And so you also play in kind of like a super group thing, Royal Machines, right? And you got people like Billy Idol, Dave Navarro, some buddy of mine, Billy Morrison.
Billy's the best, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean I know him only a little bit because we're both sober, and
he does so much for others.
Cool.
Obviously, you do too. So if you know Billy,
yeah,
that means you're very selfless and help a lot of people because Billy's such a wonderful.
He's so cool. I got to bring him on the podcast. But yeah, so
you should because the man's got stories for days, and just to hear him speak with the English accent,
I know, right?
It's so eloquent.
It's so nice.
Mark, the plane has been delayed, but it's okay, mate, because he makes everything okay with that beautiful, eloquent voice.
Oh, okay, everything is all right. Yeah.
But Royal Machines is giving me some of the most magical musical memories of my career. It's truly an all-star band. People talk about, hey, we've got an all-star band, and it's the ex-bass player, a winger who didn't play on the 2 records everybody knows, and it's the drummer from, God knows what, and they put together these so-called super bands. But, Royal Machines has some of the best players in the world. You have Josh Freese on drums.
Oh, my gosh.
Josh Freese is arguably the best drummer in the world.
Yeah.
The best drummers in the world will tell you that. He plays with Sting right now. He plays with the Vandals.
Yep.
He plays with Weezer. Weezer. He plays with Sublime with Rome. He's played with Devo. He's just such an
perfect circle.
The Replacements, a perfect circle. Any cool band you can name, he has played with. And so he's our drummer.
Yeah.
Chris Chaney is our bass player. So with Chris Chaney and Josh, we have the best rhythm section in the world. Chris has played with everybody from Alanis Morissette, and he's currently in Jane's Addiction. Speaking of Jane's Addiction, our guitar player is Dave Navarro.
That's so crazy.
I mean, I think it's crazy. You talk about having pictures on your bathroom on your bedroom wall going up. I had Dave Navarro's picture. I still have Dave Navarro's picture. Now it's in my bathroom. And then we have Billy Morrison on guitar, who's played everybody from The Cult, and he's currently in Billy Idol. So when you have that cachet, that level of musicianships, you can reach out to Steven Tyler, to Ozzy Osbourne, to Sting, to Cypress Hill, to Macy Gray, to Darius Rucker, to Steven Tyler, to play. So now you truly have an all-star band with all-star guests. So you never know who's going to play at a Royal Machine show, and that's what makes it so fun. And the highlight of my career, I mean, I do It's Tricky with DMC from DMC, and I'm like, if you could tell my 16-year-old self he was going to do this. I mean, so I feel like Where's Waldo every time.
Yeah.
And I'm the missing link in that. When I'm actually a core member of the band, but then you go, oh yeah, and vocals, Mark McGrath. You know what I mean? It's like when you think of the level of musicianship and how respected these guys are. And our buddy Donovan Leach, too, is in the band, too, as well as a legendary bon vivant around town, amazing guy. So we have access to these incredible musicians, and so we get to play all these great corporate shows, and we play cover songs. Every now and then we'll throw in one of our own songs and stuff like that, but it's what we truly started our own bands for, and now we're playing it in Royal Machines and getting overpaid for it. It's the joy of playing music. It's kind of what I mentioned earlier. If you don't love it, then you're not welcome in Royal Machines, and that's why we've had such great success. And I had the pleasure of once playing. My favorite all-time band is the Sex Pistols. I named my son Lydon after Johnny Rotten.
Nice.
One night at the Roxy, I got to play EMI with Paul Cook, the drummer of the Sex Pistols, on drums, Steve Jones, the guitarist of the Sex Pistols, on guitar, and Glenn Matlock, who wrote the song and was in the Sex Pistols before Sid joined, on bass. Us three and me doing EMI. I've got video of it. I watch it once a night. It's on a loop in my house. And it's surreal to me that even happened, because I wasn't touching the ground. So I'm glad there's a video of it, and it's just shout out to my buddy Todd Newman for putting that together. It just blows my mind that it happened. So I have all these magical moments of being on stage with Sting, singing Message in the Bottle, doing It's Tricky, Run DMC, doing Walk This Way with Steven Tyler. It's all because of Royal Machine. So which makes it so great, we don't announce the guests. So you never know who's coming around the corner, but I can guarantee you a Rock and Roll Hall of Famer will be walking around that corner.
How often do you guys play gigs?
Well, we used to do Christmas shows all the time.
Okay.
And then the fans were expecting literally the Beatles to reunite,
right.
And it's just Jerry Cantrell tonight? That's headline. Did you just say just Jerry? How dare you?
Yeah.
So the fans got a little, and it got to be a little bit tough on people to recruit during the holidays, because those shows were free.
Right.
I got Billy Corgan to come down last year, out of the goodness of his heart to come down.
What is up with you and Billy Corgan, though? Okay, because I'm at the Smashing Pumpkins show.
Yep.
And then I see you up on the screen.
Yep.
Kind of like a circus ringleader guy. And then you actually performed a couple Sugar Ray songs at some of the concerts with the Pumpkins.
I was in the video for
You were in the
Silvery
video?
Sometimes.
Yes, you were. Oh, that song is so good. What the hell?
I don't know. Billy Corgan is smarter than the rest of us. There is a method to his madness.
Yes.
I will say this. I've loved Smashing Pumpkins my whole life, and Billy is just awesome. William, he likes to be called now. He's just an amazing guy. One of my best friends, Josh Richmond. Do you know Josh Richmond?
Mm-mm.
He's the guy with the cane in Hollywood. Everybody knows him. He's been around for years. He knows everybody. One night I was at a party. Watch out, because I'm dropping some names. Watch your feet. I was at Guy Osiris, the manager of U2 and Madonna's. He has an Oscar party, and it's the Oscar party after the Oscars, where everybody goes with their Oscars and parties, and there's no press, there's no nothing, and everybody gets down and parties. So I met Billy Corgan and Josh there, and I'd met Billy before, but we kind of got to talking, and I was a perfect amount of drunk where I wasn't bothering anybody yet, and I was still witty and funny, and I was doing my shtick with Billy Corgan, and he bought it hook, line, and sinker. 2 weeks later, I get a call. Listen, we're reuniting, and I'd love you to be the master of ceremonies for our production. And I'm like you, I go, why?
Yeah.
Why me? And I didn't ask why. I went down there and did it. I shot all this stuff for their production. You know, and they've gone around the world with this thing, and I've got people calling me, dude, I saw you in the Smack. What's going on? I go, I don't know. Just enjoy it. So I thought, well, that's enough. I am honored to be part of this Smashing Pumpkins production, and if that's all I ever do, thank God, and it was so much fun. I get the call last summer. Billy William Corrigan says, hey, we're doing the 30-year anniversary of Smashing Pumpkins playing live. It's on August whatever. It's at the PNC Amphitheater in Homedale, New Jersey. Can you come down and do a couple songs with us? I'm like, wait, let me check. Yes. Yes. He goes, we got Chino from the Deftones. You know, we got Davey from AFI.
Oh, my God.
We got Courtney Love coming down. All these legends. I go, I will be there with bells on. And he goes, but, you know, we don't want to do Smashing Pumpkin songs. I go, okay. He goes, we want you to do a Judas Priest song, and we want to do Fly. And I go, what Seinfeld bizarro episode am I living in right now? So you can Google it, look it up. It's Smashing Pumpkins playing Fly. And I'm looking over, and Billy Corrigan, and he's 6'9" anyway, and he's in these 7-inch platform heels with like a silver coat on, going, I just want to fly. And I was thinking about how that song started with I just want. I go, oh my God, this song has come a long way. And then we did Judas Priest, and it was so fun. It was a great night. We did Breaking the Law, and you know, Jimmy Chamberlain on drums is one of my favorite drummers of all time.
Yeah.
So to get to play with him and James Eha and the whole band was just
They sound so good too.
Great.
It's like crazy.
Yeah, and listen, they play 3 hours long, and I don't sit through anything for 3 hours.
Totally.
You know, but it goes by like that, and they play every hit, and they deliver, and they've never sounded better, and Billy's voice is perfect. So that was great. And I go, well, if that's all I ever do with Smashing Pumpkins, that's enough. It's been a great year. No problem. Go home. Ring. Hey, Mark, it's William Corrigan. I have nothing left. Bill, I've got nothing left to give. I love you so much. I can't. Will you be in our video? I go, you're a smarter man than me. I know there's a method to your madness, and I know this is probably the trilogy and what you're trying to achieve. I would love to be. So I got to be in their Silvery Sometimes video, and I played a cheesy 70s host. You'd never believe it. Little typecasting there. And I just... Not only did I get to be, you know, part of like the inner circle of one of my favorite bands of all time, but you know, I really got to be friends with the band and Billy as well. So I really cherish that. And the answer why I'm in those things is I don't know.
Because you're Mark McGrath.
I don't know.
And things just happen to
you. And things just happen to me. They're
do.
so right.
They
That's
do.
perfect, Megan.
You're one of those people.
Things just happen. Even after all these years we're talking about it, I go like, is there someone else that can like, I've just been so grateful. Like, you know, the Beach Boys will call me up and go, will you come jam with us for our Capitol Force celebration on July 4th? I go, what's happening? What is going on in this world?
But I think it's because you have good energy and you have good intentions and you just truly love music and you're passionate. And I really believe that good things come to good people.
Well, it's kind of what we talked about, like visualizing and luck and all that. And I also consider myself a fan first.
Yeah.
And I think people see that in me. And like, if you see me on stage, I'm like a little puppy that's just running all over and just so happy to be there. Like, there's no place I'd rather be. And I believe sometimes, because it's been told to me, that joy is infectious to other people.
Yes.
And that is the biggest compliment you could give me. So I'll keep being that little puppy peeing on your carpet, on your drum stool.
Well, Mark McGrath, I just want to thank you so much for coming on the podcast. And just, for me, this is such a crazy, just dream come true.
You're an angel,
and
Megan.
you are the best. This has been the most fun time ever.
Me
Thank
too.
You so much.
Shout out to Dashy Hutton for putting us together.
Yes,
Right
I
on.
love you.
Interrupters 2020.
Ow, ow.